Go for it.
Thank you, Kendrick, and thank you all of you that are listening to me from that side. My name is Joana, as you already know me. I'm a registered dietitian. I'm also founder of YourDietAdvice.com. Just a brief introduction for those who didn't watch my video last week. And today I'm here to talk to you about how to get the balance right. This is one of the questions that actually many clients come to me with, because they might know what's healthier, what's not healthier, but how much of each different portion sizes of each group should we be eating to get the maximum benefit and feel healthy with energy. And this is a question that I hope that I will answer today. So if you also have some questions, you are free to just put them into the chat, and then Kendrick will pass them on to me. And I'm here during, I think, for the next 45 minutes, an hour, to talk to you about how to get the balance right, how to eat healthy for the maximum well-being. Because as Kendrick told you, we can't really perform well if we don't eat right. So we need to look after ourselves first. So eating healthy can be complicated, more complicated than we think, especially if we start looking into Google and start doing our own search. You're going to find out many answers to your question and you might get confused. So I want to say that, first of all, you need to contact a dietitian if you want to change your diet. Don't just make changes into your diet by whatever you find in the internet. Okay, so today I'm here. All the information that I'm going to pass to you are extremely important. They are based in evidence, so it's not coming from my head. So I hope you can learn something from it and actually put into practice. I'm going to show you two pictures. The first one and then the second one. The first one is a salad. I want you to tell me, what do you think? If this picture shows a healthy plate or not. So you can just write down into the comments on the group if you think this salad is healthy or not. I'll give you a few moments to write down. And then I will show you the second picture, which is chocolate and beetroot brownie. So what do you think? Do you think this is healthy or not, the brownie?
That one looks healthy to me. Oh my goodness, sorry. I couldn't resist, sorry.
Healthy. He's saying healthy. Maybe the salad. Maybe. Okay, Natasha. Okay. Not healthy, the brownie. Okay. I can see your comments. So what does it mean to eat healthy, really? Because the concept can vary and actually depends on your needs at that time. For example, somebody at the hospital might be feeling very poorly, and what they can eat is a pudding and custard, for example. They don't feel like eating fish or meat or anything, and they are so poorly that at that time, actually, pudding and custard will be healthy for them. In the other hand, if you have somebody with excessive weight who wants to lose weight, then pudding and custard wouldn't be the healthier option. A piece of fruit will be the healthier option. So we need to put things into context. And that's the job of a dietitian, really, is to try to advise people according to their circumstances, according to their nutritional objectives and their health. So I just want you to get a notion, understand this difference, what's healthy, what's not healthy. And just looking at the pictures that I showed you before, how do we know if it's healthy just looking at the picture? There is no nutritional information. And we don't know actually what time of the day we're going to be consuming those products, isn't it? So, for example, the chocolate and beetroot brownie will be healthier than having just a chocolate regular brownie with lots of sugar. On this recipe, actually, the beetroot is replacing the sugar. So in that case, you're gonna get the fiber from the beetroot and the natural sugar instead of added sugar. So in that case, it's healthier. But if you're going to have the chocolate brownie for lunch, so you're going to have that as your lunch or just for your breakfast, it's not going to be healthy because it's not a balanced meal. You're missing some ingredients, you're missing some nutrients in this meal to get it balanced. So could be good as a snack, as a dessert, a little bit, just a little bit as a dessert, but not to replace a main meal, for example. So we need to look into a lot more things than just a picture and say, is healthy, is not healthy.
Yeah.
But we can have an idea. We can understand that a salad with some lentils, you have some protein there, you have some cheese, some healthy fats. So actually, this could be a lunch. Is balanced. It's a good meal, for example. So getting into the next part of my session, I just want you to read this quote from British Dietetic Association. What do they say about healthy eating? So healthy eating is about having a balance of different foods and nutrients in the diet for good health and well-being. It's not about dieting. So people sometimes they think that, okay, I want to lose weight, I need to lose weight, so I'm going to start eating healthy. So healthy eating is not just to lose weight, it's actually to maintain a good weight, to maintain health, good health. It doesn't have to be boring or difficult. And healthy eating is about enjoying your food at the same time as being mindful about what you eat. It's all about being mindful. I have lots of clients come to me, and what they learn straight away is to be mindful what they're eating. So they have conscious what they're eating. They're not just eating, responding to their hunger. They are learning how to select the foods, how to make choices. It's all about choices and how to make them. There are a set of guidelines for the general population which defines the basics of healthy eating, which is the Eat Well Guide. I'm going to talk to you about the Eat Well Guide. I would like to know if any of you is already familiarized with the Eat Well Guide. Did you ever saw this image before? Just let me know yes or no in the comments. I believe maybe some of you already know the Eat Well Guide. So it's the UK guidelines for healthy eating, and it's the basic. It's really the basic. Of course, this Eat Well Guide can be adapted if you have a vegetarian diet, if you have a vegan diet. It can be adapted to all different diets. All diets like keto, for example, wouldn't fall into the Eat Well Guide, because I'm going to talk about all these groups, and you have, for example, the bread and the potatoes and all of that. So, but as a general rule, most of the diets can be adapted into the Eat Well Guide, even though guidelines for children or for adults. What's going to vary is really the portion sizes that will be different in terms of if somebody wants to lose or to gain weight, or if somebody is a child or an adult or a teenager. But I will be talking today about the portion sizes for an adult. So they say yes. Okay, Natasha. Natasha already know about the Eat Well Guide. Fantastic. I will talk about it, and hopefully you will learn something new as well, because coming from a dietitian, perhaps we bring a different view on this. And if you have any questions while I talk about this guide, you just feel free to ask me here. He didn't know about the Eat Well Guide. Okay, so this is UK guidelines about healthy eating. Each country will have slightly different guides because it really depends on the culture, and different countries will have different foods, and each country will have a different guide. There are some countries they have like a pyramid, but in UK they have a Eat Well guide. So this guide is divided into 5 groups, and they are the fruit and vegetables, the bread, pasteurized cereal, potatoes, which is the carbs, the dairy and dairy alternatives, beans, pulses, fish, eggs, and meat, and then oils and spreads. And all of these five groups are very important for our well-being. Cutting any of these groups will originate an imbalance into your body. For example, the fruit and vegetables are very rich in fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and they are essential to many biochemical processes in our body. That's why we need to eat lots of them. The group of bread, pasta, rice, and potatoes, they are the main source of carbs, which are the preferred source to fuel our brain and body. So they are really the fuel of our body. And when you start cutting them out, you might feel a bit lethargic at the beginning because your body is kind of needing this energy. Our brain needs this energy to work. And they also very important source of vitamin B, which is important to help the body convert food into energy. Then you have the dairy and dairy alternatives. They are important sources of protein and calcium. They're important for growth, development, maintenance of healthy bones and teeth. And then the protein, which is the beans, pulses, fish, egg, and meat, which is the body's main building block. Then oils and spreads are a great source of fats, and they have many important functions in our body. Like carbohydrates, fat provides energy but is more calorie dense in comparison. So for well function of our bodies, we really need to have a variety of foods from these groups. It's not just eating, for example, chicken, broccoli, and potato with a little bit of olive oil and every day. It's not repeating our food every day. I know that some people might not like all the vegetables or all the different kinds of meat, but at least the vegetables and the fruit try to vary because all of them will have different amounts of all different vitamins and minerals. And the more colorful is your plate, the more sure you can be that you're getting all the vitamins and minerals that our body needs. And I can see, for example, from my clients, when they start making these changes, they start feeling with more energy. They start feeling more positive as well, more confidence, and also happier. So all those cravings that sometimes they feel for sweets almost disappear because they are eating correctly. They are eating the right balance of foods. You're gonna notice this straight away because if you pay attention to our body knows exactly what it needs. And when you start feeling tired and you start looking what you ate during that day, you might notice I skipped breakfast or I haven't eaten anything for the last 6 hours because you might be working on a project and you totally forgot, and then you start feeling very tired. And what do you want to eat? Just a bar of chocolate straight away because you need that quick energy. You crave for that sugar, you crave for that, and that's a natural response of our body. Sorry, Kendrick, I'm not sure if you wanted to ask something.
Yeah. I'm kind of like just looking at that pie chart that you just showed,
Yes.
and I can see that a lot of it has a section for, let me just call it bread. Yeah,
Yes.
let's just call it
Yes.
bread because, and I think based on maybe where one of the excuses that a lot of us will come up with, which might even be a valid excuse, is that maybe when people are at a certain level when it comes to they can't afford certain food, like for example, obviously dairy. Maybe if you can buy milk, you can buy cheese, it's okay. You can buy bread and whatever else that goes with it. But then you get to the section where I think it is like fish and those kind of bits. If you can just remind me now, if some of that is left out, now will you be able to? Are there certain symptoms? That you will actually experience within your body that will be able to tell you, all right, somewhere I'm missing out here. Because if I eat bread every day and I have my milk and my cheese and whatever and have some fruits, I mean, just putting it like that doesn't really feel like I'm having a balanced diet. How just speak into that. How will I really?
Yes.
Well, there certain things that I will experience within my body if I know, it's lacking something.
Yes, definitely you will. And you might not notice that is related to the food. So after
Mm,
talking to a dietitian or to a doctor, and when we examine it further, we'll be able to relate to what you're eating and also looking into your food intake. So I
mm,
usually ask for food diary where people can write down what they're eating and how they
yeah,
feel after that
yeah,
as well. So this could be good to see if they have any food intolerances, for example, if they're not tolerating a specific food, but also if they're feeling tired or very hungry at a certain time of the day. And that
yeah,
could be related to the previous meals not being balanced. But things that are symptoms that are really related to
yeah.
some nutritional deficiency could be, for example, anemia. So it's quite frequent, this
Mm,
one, and could be, for example, you don't like red meat, you don't eat much meat, or you are a vegetarian or a vegan where you have a restricted diet
mm,
and you cut a lot of foods, and if you don't know how to replace those foods by another ones,
mhm.
or you might need supplements as well. So supplements here could be a good option if you are cutting out
Yeah.
certain types of food.
Mm,
But it's possible to have vegetarian vegan diets healthy and balanced, but you
mhm.
might need help from a dietitian if you're just starting out, you're not sure. But definitely anemia is one of related
Okay.
to cutting some meat out, for example, or the group of the protein.
Yeah.
Or, for example, if you're feeling low in energy, could be you are missing vitamin B, for example, they're coming from the carbs.
Mm,
If you're cutting out too much,
mm.
vitamin C is one that you get from the vegetables, but after cooking them for so long, they might lose some of that vitamin C. You're not going to feel any symptoms actually from having deficiency from vitamin C,
Ah, okay.
but it's very important. It's a very important
Mm,
antioxidant, and dietitians can really advise on that. If they see, for example, what you're eating, the way you're cooking the
mm,
food, you might need extra vitamin C. So things like that. Vitamin D, for example, is related to if you have deficiency in vitamin D, you might be lacking sunlight and you might
mhm.
feel depressed, for example, very sad. And that could be vitamin D deficiency as well. But
Okay.
obviously, we need to do investigation. So blood tests are very important. Some vitamins deficiency can be detected just looking at the client, for example, at the color of the skin, the color of the
Mm,
tongue, for example, and
wow.
you'll be able to tell if they have a nutritional deficiency, for example.
Quick question. If you're experiencing like a severe tiredness, I know it can be maybe you're not getting sufficient sleep, but how will you link that to my diet? Say if somebody feels like they're always tired,
Yes.
will that be a sign of what? What can that be an indication?
So as you mentioned, the first thing is actually to look into the sleep pattern.
Mm,
That person could, maybe it's not sleeping well,
mm,
but relating to food is actually looking into, is this person eating enough? Is it doing all the meals of the day? Could
mm.
be water as well. Some people get headache
Yeah,
if
yeah.
when they are dehydrated. They might not feel thirsty and they start feeling a headache
Mm,
and a bit tired. And drinking water, keeping yourself hydrated can help
mm,
you with that. Making sure that you are including foods with carbs and proteins, all meals, for snacks, for
mm,
breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. So making sure you have a balanced diet. It's quite difficult to just talk here as a general because everybody is different. So when I look into more detail at each person's food diary, then I can help. But I have people saying that actually when they start eating healthy, they feel less tired. And they don't realize how tired they were actually before. And it's
mm,
related to the way they're eating, that they
mm.
made some changes and they feel better now with more energy.
Yeah,
And it makes sense because food is our fuel. So it's like a car. If you're not don't put fuel in your car, it's not going to work properly. It's just going to
that's right.
stop.
That's right.
So that could happen to us as well. So it's so important to fuel our bodies on the right way.
The right way. Awesome. Awesome.
Okay. Um, yeah, so starting from the first group, the fruit and vegetables, they should make up over a third of food we eat each day. And what's included? So here, any kind of fruit or vegetables, really, dried, frozen, tinned, fresh, fruit and vegetables, all type. Pulses here, for example, baked beans, lentils, dried peas, they can also count. So some people might think that to eat healthy, everything needs to be fresh, and might be difficult really to get everything fresh because we know vegetables might go off after a few days. So making sure that you always have some frozen vegetables in your freezer, some tin ones, for example, tin beans is a good one, or tin peas for quick meal, for example. Don't look for perfection. Look for progress. Look into how can you include more fruit and vegetables into your day without, making it perfect, without having all the groceries all the time fresh
Yeah.
from this market and organic.
Yeah.
That's going to make it really, really, really
That's
difficult.
right. I like what you just mentioned now, because I think one of the things that might stop us even from getting it right, because it's about getting the balance right, and I think just based on what you were saying, is it won't happen overnight. It's going to take time, and obviously you have to look at some of the stuff that you might need. Maybe you want to reach for the salmon and for all the expensive fish, but unfortunately maybe you can't afford it. So you have to kind of like look at where you are, because otherwise I will come up with an excuse. No, I don't have the money to buy. I mean, I'm okay with just having just have
Yeah.
just have the chicken, because it at least I can just walk in the shop and it is there. So I like what you're saying. It's we shouldn't be kind of like unreasonable, and basically like start where we're at, isn't it? I think that's very
Yes,
important. I
exactly. If
think
you
that's very
can't
important.
buy fresh salmon, buy tin salmon. It's a good source of vitamin D and omega-3, for example. You're still gonna get good nutrition from it.
Yeah,
So don't look for perfection. Look for what you can get.
what's
The
working for
most
yeah.
important thing, yes, is to vary and eat every day fruit and vegetables. At least 5 portions is the minimum recommended. And if you think about one portion is, for example, an apple or a banana. If you go for fruits that are smaller, for example, kiwis or tangerines will be 2 small ones. If you go, for example, for cooked vegetables, it will be 80 grams, which is half a cup, for example. Is not a lot, but majority of people in UK don't eat enough fruit and vegetables. So if you look at 5 portions, you might want to include one portion at breakfast, another portion for a snack, for example. Then you have your lunch, another portion, mid-morning or mid-afternoon snack, and then dinner. So if you do 5 meals a day, you can include easily a portion of fruit or vegetables. Or some meals you can, if you don't have these 5 meals a day, if you have 3, you can have double the portion, for example, at lunch, at dinner. For it, it's not that difficult. We just need to be more conscious about it and try to include these foods into your plate every day and have a colorful plate. So we used to say eat the rainbow. So how much more colors your plate will have, the better. So it means you're getting more vitamins and minerals.
So does that apply to because obviously you have 3 meals a day? Does that apply to like one meal of the day, or does it go throughout for every meal that you're having? Say, okay, obviously breakfast is kind of like standard, isn't it? You either have cereal, maybe in a fruit, or you just have for those that are from where I am, maybe you have pop in the morning. But when you get to lunch and lunch and dinner, does both of those evening and midday, does it need to be balanced, or
Of course,
for both of
I
them?
know that some people prefer, for example, a dinner to be a lighter meal, but still you need to have some kind of fruit or vegetables in there. Even because fruit and vegetables actually light, they're easy to digest.
Mm.
So it still needs to be balanced. So try to, because if the less you eat during the day as well, is more difficult to include
Yeah.
all these fruits and vegetables into your diet. If you do 3 meals, it's achievable. If you just do 2, for example, 1 means that you need to eat a lot more in one go, which makes
Yeah.
it very difficult to reach the recommendations.
And if you do manage to get to that, then would you recommend that people still take supplements even though they've reached a place where they kind of like know, or they have at least a majority of the colors during the course of the day? Is that still recommended?
It really depends. So supplements, we just recommend them if somebody has some deficiency. So after doing a blood test, if you see
Okay.
there is a deficiency there in something, we recommend. But 5 portions a day is the minimum. Actually, we should be eating even more than that. But because it's so difficult to get to 5 portions nowadays, that this is the minimum. But is protective from cardiovascular diseases as well, because the fruit and vegetables, they have antioxidant properties. So I can't tell you, like, for example, that you will have definitely a deficiency if you don't vary your fruit and vegetables, because actually some people don't like any other kind of vegetables. They just like carrots and peas, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. Try to cook them in a different way. For example, you might like roasted broccoli, but you don't like boiled broccoli, for example.
Yeah.
You might like them in a soup altogether, but you might not like eating them separate. Just thinking about creative ideas of including all different vegetables into your diet, and then you're going to learn how to like them as well, because our taste buds adapt to different flavors. You just need to put a little bit of effort, and you will increase the variety of fruit and vegetables you eat.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
That's fine. So the next group is the bread, pasta, rice, cereal, and potatoes, which is what people call it the carbs. So the carbs are all of these type of foods, and most of the people are afraid of this group because they think they are unhealthy or you're gonna put on weight. So I just want to demystify this, because actually carbs, they provide less energy than fat. So 1 gram of carbs provides 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat provides 9 calories. So if you look into the energy density of these 2, carbs and fats, you will see that carbs has a lot less energy. So we actually need them. They are source of vitamins B and fiber, especially the whole grain. And I'm talking about the whole grain here because we are not eating enough fiber. So always choose the whole grain option, whole grain pasta, the brown bread, brown rice, for example. Eating potatoes with the skin, they're a lot more tasty and also provides a lot more fiber. And why is it important to eat fiber? For healthy gut. Many people will suffer from constipation. They might have problems in their gut because they're not eating enough fiber, and actually can help to maintain a healthy weight, because you're going to feel full for longer. Our body will take more time to digest food with fiber, which is good to regulate your appetite. So this is a good one to just do a few swaps. If you are just eating plain white pasta, plain rice, do a few swaps and you will start feeling the difference. You're not going to be able to eat so much as you're eating before from the white versions, because you actually will feel full. So this is a good one if you can just start making these changes. And on this group, everything, there is many things are included. For example, oats that you usually do the porridge are included here, tapioca, barley, rice, couscous, crispy bread, rice cakes, pizza bread, bread rolls, English muffins, cornflakes, granola. So many things are included on this group of the carbs. So this is important to have, as I mentioned before, a source of carbs each of your meal. Of course, this will the portion sizes will depend on actually what you need. How much are we spending, for example? Because
Yeah.
if you are an athlete, if you're running all day, you're going to eat a lot of carbs. You're going to need them. If you are just sitting in the desk, you're going to need them, but in a smaller portion, of course. You need for your brain function, but you're not going to need them because you're not going to be running all day. So we need to kind of understand how much do we need, and also what are we adding to those carbs. Are we having, for example, lots of butter in the toast? So in that case, of course, you are increasing a lot the energy of that toast, adding lots of butter. Are
Yeah.
you adding cream to the pasta, for
Ooh.
example? It like makes it tastier, but will increase the amount of calories a lot. So carbs are healthier on its own way in their original form. If you start adding lots of fat, then we start going away from the
You're coming
healthier
close to home
side.
now. Eh? I say you're coming close to home now, because it's like, when you have the toast, you make sure there's cheese on there, there's butter on there, there's cream on there.
Yes,
You just
yes.
stick it all on there because you after the taste.
And
Okay.
then you blame on the carbs. You never think about the rest, I never think about how much fat am I adding here. I'm
Yeah.
actually having pasta with fried chicken, or rice with fried chicken, whatever. So we always blame the carbs, and we want to lose weight, and we start cutting out the carbs. But they're not the ones to blame. We need to look into other things. How are we cooking our food as well? How are we making our food combinations? It's also important. So don't blame it just on the
Oh
carbs.
my God.
Look into different things.
Okay.
Then we have the next group. The next group is the dairy or dairy alternatives, and
Yeah.
here we have the milk, the cheese, the yogurt, and also the plant-based versions. For example, the soya drinks, the soya yogurts, soya cheeses, and they are very good source of protein as well, and calcium, and these are very important for our bones and teeth. So as we get older, our bones can get a bit more fragile, so eating calcium is so important, and we should have three servings a day. For example, could be three yogurts, but not to be just yogurts. Could be, for example, a slice of cheese, then a yogurt in the mid-morning, and then you can have a glass of milk, for example, for those who like milk. Or you can have, for example, cottage cheese on your bread. That is also a serving of dairy. So looking at the portion sizes, so portion size of milk will be, for example, 200 mils, which is full glass, or you can have 20 grams of low fat cheese, or a tablespoon of cream cheese, 2 teaspoons of cream fresh. So all of this contains a serving of calcium and protein, into this group, the dairy group. So it's not actually difficult, but I think as we grow older, some people start to cut down on the dairy. They think we don't need milk, and milk is just for children, but actually it's important. It's a very important drink because of the nutritional composition. But obviously we know that not everybody can tolerate milk, because actually if we stop drinking milk, we will not digest so well. So in that case, you can replace by a plant-based milk, and soya is the one who has more protein in comparison to other plant-based milks. So that's why it's recommended. And just make sure that it's rich with calcium, because we know milk from cow always will have calcium. But the ones who are plant-based, they need to be added. They need to add those nutrients, vitamins to the milk, because it doesn't contain in its natural form. So just read the label as well to make sure, and also prefer the leaner fats. So the low fat cheese, low fat yogurt, low fat milk, for example, because these products are high in saturated fat. So, and this fat is the one we should be watching to not eat so much, because it's linked to a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, for example. or the sugar, because some products, for example, yogurt, you might think yogurt is healthy, but might have lots of sugar added there. So always read the ingredients. Try to understand what's written in there. If it has names that you don't know, it's something that is not right. Look it up, and make sure that doesn't contain sugar added as an ingredient. Any questions so far?
I've got a question. Now. I'm kind of like just going back. I know that you finished that group a while ago, but when you come to your veggies, your broccoli and your cauliflower and all of those. I know usually the wife, the way she puts it is like, do not kill my veggies. I want you to cook it only for so long, because when I bite it, I need to still like hear that sound of, you get what I mean? It's like, so would you say, if you have somebody that like the veggies a little bit raw, not raw, but kind of like only cooked for up to a certain, it's almost like it's not if you try to mash it, it won't mash. Why? Because it's still, it's not like overcooked. That's the word I'm looking for. So do you lose a lot of nutrients when you actually overcook them? Would you recommend? What would you recommend? Would you recommend cooking it until you can mash that thing and make like a mashed veggie, or what do you recommend?
So what happens? Yes, what happens with the cooking? So cooking here, it's important. If you will boil the vegetables until they are very, very soft, where you can mash with a fork, the longer you cook the vegetables for, the more they're going to lose its nutrients. And the main nutrient that they will lose is actually vitamin C, because it's a vitamin that is lost into the water, is lost into the steam. So we will lose that. It's automatically. And as well, for example, if you cut the vegetables too early and you leave them just at open air in your kitchen while you're doing something else, they're going to lose vitamin C. If you peel your potatoes and you put them in some water and leave them there for a while, they're going to lose vitamin C. So the main vitamin they're going to lose is actually vitamin C, but they might lose other ones. So actually not cooking them for so long, as you're saying, having them as crunchy, it's a good option. But the best option will be really to steam them. So Natasha, can see she's asking here, steaming, roasting, or boiling, which one is best? So steaming is the best option, because steaming doesn't involve water, isn't it? You just need a little bit of water, but the vegetables are on the top of the water, and the vegetables will be cooked by the steam that comes up from the boiling water. So you're not losing much vitamins in there. If you happen to boil the vegetables, one thing you can do, you just use that soup, that water to, for example, make some soup. So in that case, you're going to be drinking the water, so you're going to get some nutrients from there. Roasting, they will lose as well some vitamins and minerals. So what I will suggest here, because I know that people like to eat different things. We don't like to eat always steamed vegetables, because we know roasting them, they might be more tastier, of course. So in that case, what you can do is not have just roasted or cooked vegetables, but also have fresh vegetables. You can have a salad, for example, not just, so in that case you have raw vegetables and cooked vegetables. So always try to have this variety on your plate, so to make sure that you are getting all the vitamins that you need.
Awesome.
Okay.
Can I go into a second one? Because just looking at that chart, and you have like all of this kind of different groups, would you say that just by looking at it, I think it is actually a good idea for somebody to actually have that hanged up somewhere in your kitchen, isn't it? For you to actually have a good visual. Maybe some people just know it already in their heads, but I think for me, I will need to print out that chart from somewhere, because I think if you have a clear idea, all right, what do I need to buy to make sure that I have that balance throughout the week? Because everything about growth, we got to be intentional about it. So I think that will be a good intention, so that I can know, all right, this is the kind of portion I have to have in this a specific area and kind of like just have it in front of me all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your thought on that?
No, I like that idea because it's going to give you a visual of what you should be eating. And this comes into, if you're not, I don't know if you do like vision boards, for example, if you are into group, you might be doing your vision board with your objectives, and one of them could be eating healthier. And having, for example, this image printed out, the Eat Well guide, will remind you of you should be eating healthier.
That's right.
You should be trying to vary your foods. And one thing about the shopping and being intentionally is actually preparing your shopping, looking at the Eat Well guide and look, what can I buy, and prepare it beforehand. I actually have a shopping list on my website, so if people are interested in having a printout, they can go there and download it. And this actually can be very helpful because it contains, all the food organized by groups. And you try to vary every week. Don't buy always the same thing. Don't buy just peas and carrots, for example. You can buy in 1 week, but next week let's try beetroot. Let's try what's in season. If you see a different vegetable in the supermarket and you're like, why not? Let's try Brussels sprouts. Let's try asparagus. Let's try, something different, because you might be surprised that they are actually nice. And in that way, you are increasing the variety of foods that you're having in your diet.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. It's like being adventurous, isn't it? It's kind of like saying, all right, I know in the UK they only use pumpkin for Halloween, isn't it? Pumpkin is not you don't see it. So there are certain fruit and there are certain veg that be kind of like you don't even try it out because you just told yourself already in advance that no, I'm not interested in that must be tasting horrible. No, but why not being adventurous and just kind of like figure out how to make it tasty. I like this kind of, just go wild on it and say, all right, today we're having sweet potato and chicken.
yes, right. It's lovely, and you're going to be surprised that you will like it. Yes, because we tend to buy the same things. We have our own habits. You already know. Perhaps you already have our shopping list saved on the online supermarket if you do online, and you keep just clicking every week, and you just don't think you're just gonna keep ordering the same thing. But try to think out of the box. What else can we have this week that is slightly different? Could be just try to have one food different every week. You don't need to change everything. Just go step by step, and that will be a big step forward.
That's right. So we have
here a question. Yes.
We've got a question here by Mr. Dludlu. He said, my wife cooks chicken with the skin off, but when we eat out in restaurant, leave it on. I do enjoy that as it retains the most flavor. Should we change that? You're messing with the guy's chicken now. Go on, man. What do you think?
Okay, so what do I think? So his wife is actually cooking the chicken well in a healthier way without the skin, because some people might argue, but I don't eat the skin. But still, so when we cook the chicken or the meat with the skin on, the skin contains fat. It's purely fat, and that fat will be transferred during the cooking process to the meat. So some meat that actually could be lean, for example, the breast chicken, cooked with the skin, then will have more fat than the chicken cooked without skin. So at home, that's fine and that's good. Keep doing that. But in the restaurants, when you go to a restaurant, obviously I think it's quite difficult because it's the way they are serving the chicken. You can ask, but if you enjoy its flavor once in a while, why not? We don't need to go like crazy in terms of needs to be 100% healthy all the time. You go to a restaurant, you need to eat, because I know in the restaurant could be a bit more challenging to also eat always healthy. And why not enjoying other foods that we know is not healthier, is not very healthy, but it's once in a while. We need to keep a balance, because actually this food can be part of a healthy and balanced diet. That's why I'm talking here, is getting the balance right. We don't need to eat healthy every day, but at least if you can eat healthy 80% of the time, that's amazing. That's a really a really step forward. So don't try to reach perfection. enjoy your food and just make conscious choices.
Yeah.
Overall, keep the balance at the end of the week.
Wow, that's awesome. I like the way you put it, because I think sometimes we can take it to the extreme. Thank you so much for that question there, Mr. Dudu.
That's
Um,
there. Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
because sometimes we can take it to the extreme, and what happens, we kind of like we start hating the food that we eat, is because we believe, that the taste is in the chicken skin, but now you, instead
Yes.
of just saying, all right, I will not eat the skin because obviously it's not good for me, but
Yes.
every so often, take the skin, and take your time enjoying the skin, because it the flavor is there, because we want to make sure that that we uh, we don't hate what we put in our mouths. No.
Yes, exactly. Healthy food is not boiled chicken, boiled potatoes, and boiled vegetables,
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you can
Just
be
boil them.
creative
Yeah.
and, season, use herbs and spices. You can marinate the chicken beforehand with some paprika, for example, some vinegar, or I don't know if you put wine in the chicken. So you can do you can marinate the chicken with the herbs and spices
Yeah.
beforehand, and with lemon juice, for example, that will increase the flavor of the chicken, for example. So
Absolutely.
we have two left groups of the pie chart that I showed you previously, the Wheat Well guide. So one of the groups is beans, pulses, fish, eggs, and meat, and others like nuts and seeds. They are included in this group because they are high protein foods. They're also good source of iron, especially the meat, and omega-3, the oily fish. And here, olive fish, we are talking about salmon, for example, sardines. We're not talking about tinned tuna. We are talking about fresh tuna, for example, contains oily fish, but you can have as a source of protein either way, and on this group. So try also to include the source of protein all meal times, and the source and the protein. One portion will be a hand palm size of meat or fish. So some people might argue, my palm is bigger than yours. So if it's bigger than yours, actually you can have a bigger
Yeah.
portion size because you might be bigger, so you need more
Yeah.
food.
That's right.
A portion could be as well 2 eggs or 3 tablespoons of cooked beans if you don't eat
Mhm.
meat or fish, a handful of nuts, a tablespoon of seeds. So you can try to vary. You don't actually always need to eat fish and meat or
Mhm.
eggs. Try to get some vegetarian meals, why not? But also don't forget your protein. So don't forget your beans, don't forget your nuts and seeds. They're all part of this group.
Wow.
So the recommendation in terms of, because some people might think, oh, but red meat is not healthy because it has so much saturated fat.
Mm.
But don't cut completely off from your diet. You can have some meat, red meat, for example. The recommendations for red meat per week is about 300 grams. So I don't know, if you go to a restaurant, sometimes they might give you like a steak that is about half a kilo, and then you're already over
Yeah.
your meat intake for the week. But if you're at home, you can have, for example, 100 grams
Mm.
3 times a week. So it really depends the amount of meat that you are eating, but try to not have so much, so 300 grams of red meat a day. In terms of per week. In terms of fish, twice a week. So once of them should be oily fish, like I mentioned before, the salmon, the mackerel, the sea bass, the sea bream. So here the salmon, tinned and fresh, will count as a source of omega-3, but not the tuna. Tuna just counts as a fresh one, as a source of oily fish. And try to avoid processed meats, for example, bacon. I know some people love bacon in the breakfast, but try to avoid that because it's a lot of fat in there, saturated fat, salami, hot dogs, ham. So try to avoid processed meats and have them as more close to its natural
Mm.
state. Just because, you know, the high consumption of processed meats will increase the risk of getting gut cancer. So that's why, because there is many studies coming out on this area here. So I'm not telling you never eat bacon, never eat ham. I'm just telling you, look at the amount you're eating and try to cut down a little bit and replace by, for example, cheese, or replaced by smoked salmon, if you like, or egg, you know, other source of protein. The last group is the oils and spreads. So the fats, and is the smaller group of the pie chart, is the one there in purple. As you can see, it is tiniest one, because they are very high in fat. So they are very good source of energy as well. But 1 gram of fat will provide you 9 kilocalories. So it's actually the highest amount of all the food groups, the group that provides you more energy. You should choose unsaturated oils and spreads like olive oil, rapeseed oil, or other seed oils, and vegetable spreads, and eat them in small amounts. Saturated fats like in butter or ghee, also red meat, are linked to cardiovascular diseases, as I mentioned before. So we should limit their consumption. In this group, one portion will be 1 teaspoon of oil, or 2 teaspoons of low-fat spread. So in this here, one of the strategies that I use for weight loss is actually asking the people to measure the quantity of olive oil they're adding to the salad, because they might be eating a lovely balanced salad and they think is the healthiest salad, but they don't watch out for the amount of oil they're adding to that salad. So they you know, can come from healthy to unhealthy in a very quick way. Sorry, I'm back.
No worries.
I think touching a little bit. I'm still here.
Oh yeah, go for it. You are live. Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you very quietly now, but I think should be okay.
Yeah, you are good to go. You can carry on.
Okay. Any questions with regards to oils and butters?
How much is too much? Especially, let me put it like this. Especially, like, you know, when you have toast, it's kind of like, you know, like let me like the other day I went to buy some, you know, this nice soft square rolls, the ciabatta rolls. Now that one, when you put it in the when you warm it up in the microwave and you put the butter on there, you can deceive yourself, because you put the butter, but then suddenly the butter just disappears, isn't it? So it doesn't look like you're putting anything. So what would you say? What is too much? How would you measure to say whether it is too much?
Okay, so a teaspoon of butter will be the right portion. You know, if the best thing is actually to measure the quantity, or take a teaspoon of oil per portion, so per meal. You know, just don't put without measuring, because you're adding there a lot of calories without even noticing. So that's very important change that you can make into your diet, and that you will see results.
All right, awesome. There's another question there from Mr. Dudu. We've changed from sunflower canola to 100% pure olive oils. Is that change worth it?
Of course, yes. That's a great change. Congratulations, Brian. That's a very good change, because actually olive oil is the healthiest oil that we can consume. Is oil that has a lot of benefits linked to it, antioxidants, protective of cardiovascular diseases. All the properties of the olive oil are amazing and well studied. So that is a great change that you did. I'm just happy that I can see that you did some changes already in your diet. So keep going. Yeah, olive oil is the healthiest diet. Don't just change for whatever oils is coming up from the news. Coconut oil is healthiest. And then there is like all this different information. Now, believe me, olive oil is the healthiest that we can consume. It's linked to many protective of many diseases. So yeah, congratulations. Keep it up.
Awesome. And what would you say about you, of course, you get sunflower oil, vegetable oil, all kind of different oils. So sometimes you just go to the shop and like, which one shall I go for? Veggies today or shall I go for sunflower today? What's the difference? Can you speak into that for a bit?
Yeah, so the difference is the composition of the oil. So the olive oil, it has a lot more unsaturated fats, which are healthier fats. It's not like sunflower oil is unhealthy, because if you look into coconut oil and vegetable oil and olive oil, for example, coconut oil will be high in saturated fat. So for people watching for their cholesterol levels, is not a good option. But the sunflower oil and the olive oil will be healthier in that aspect, because they have more unsaturated fats and less saturated fats. However, the sunflower oil could be good. For example, you shouldn't be doing much frying, but if you are frying, sunflower oil is a less expensive oil. Could be an option once in a while. Why not? But olive oil, because it has a lot more properties than sunflower oil, antioxidants, and vitamin E, vitamin D. So it's well studied and is linked as well into the Mediterranean diet, which is one of the healthiest diets in the world. And that's mainly because of the olive oil. So that's really the main difference, is the composition of the olive oil. It makes it healthier. The antioxidants, the protective effect that they have in our bodies, and the vitamins that it contains. And so that's really why you should go for olive oil. I know it could be a little bit more expensive, but you can actually watch out as well for the portion that you are consuming. In that case, you can save a little bit on that.
That's right. All right.
Yes. So the next one, I'm going to show you a plate, which is how this plate is very visual. So this is how I explain in a nutshell how to get the balance right, really. This is the answer, is half of your plate, your fruit and vegetables, and try to have them very, colorful. Not just green, not just orange. Actually, this picture just shows the colors. But try to eat the rainbow. So half of your plate, vegetables, and try to have some cooked and some raw. Because as we mentioned before about the vitamins that can get lost through cooking. So try to have two different ones. Then you have the protein, which is your fish or your chicken or your eggs. So quarter of the plate protein content, and here can be as well the beans, the nuts and seeds. And then the other quarter of the plate, it will be the rice, the pasta, your potatoes, your tapioca, and things like that. So if you look into this picture, if you memorize it, they'll be good. So every time you eat, look at your plate. Does it look like this picture in terms of proportions? Half of your plate vegetables, quarter protein, quarter carbohydrates, and that choose the whole grain options. And if it does, then you achieve the balance. You got the balance right. So I just want you to, if it's something that you learned from today, if you learned this one here, that's fine. I'm very happy for that. This could be a picture that you can print actually and have in your kitchen.
Yeah. I think this one I'm gonna take on this one. Yeah, it's really, and I think when you already have it in your mind that, all right, most of the in terms of size portion within my plate should be green, and I should be colorful. I guess you can create a habit, because I think at the end of the day, that's what we're after, isn't it? We don't want to always kind of think of this. The more we get into it, it will just become part of a lifestyle. I don't have to think about, oh, I need to eat veggies today. No, it's part of what I do every single day. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly. Awesome. Part of the lifestyle. This is all we want is you need to make some changes, but once you do them, they are become part of your life.
Yeah.
The only two things I want just to mention, there is the water and the sugar. So they are also part of the plate. They're actually on the side of the plate, which is water. The recommendation is about 6-8 glasses a day. And this varies depending on the weather, the body composition, or the age. And it counts tea, for example, the coffee, the soups, sugar-free juices, lower-fat milk drinks. And as I mentioned before, if you don't drink enough water, you might feel headache, you might feel low in energy. So always have water. Aim to 6 to 8 glasses a day. If it's a hotter day, drink more. If you do exercise and sweat more, drink more. Don't wait to be thirsty. Always drink water. Always have water on my side as well. It's just creating the habit. If you have water in front of you, you're gonna remember of drinking water more easily than if you never see the water. So try to make things easier for you as well to increase the amount of water you're drinking. Absolutely. Then you have the sugar. So too much sugar can cause a weight gain, as we know, and diabetes or cardiovascular diseases. And the sugar can be anywhere. It could be hidden anywhere with all these different names that you can't even sometimes recognize. So they are mainly in biscuits, chocolate cakes, honey, syrups, sweetened fruit juice. So try to cut down on these foods or choose the ones that are lower in sugar. And the recommendations per day is actually just 30 grams of sugars per hour, which is just 2 tablespoons. If you drink coffee with sugar or tea with sugar, if you drink 5 glasses of tea or cups of coffee or tea per day, you can easily just go over this amount of sugar without counting all the other sugars that might be on the sauces that you're adding to the meals and you don't even know, and your breakfast cereals or your granola. You might think granola is very healthy, and then you're going to look into the label and contain sugar. So just pay attention to that. Just 2 tablespoons a day of sugar, and this counts all the sugar that could be hidden in any of the foods. Always read the label, and there is this label that I'm going to show to you now, which is a traffic light. So in the UK, we have actually something that can help us to choose the foods, is reading the traffic light. So you have the salt, sugar, saturated fat, and energy. And if something is all red, means that it's not really healthy. If you look, for example, here, you see the sugars are red. So it means this product is really high in sugar and a little bit high in salt, because salt is amber. If it's green, that means that it's low on that. Could be difficult to get all green, to be honest. Could be difficult to get the product all green, but this could be a quick way of choosing your products. And if you need to watch out for the sugar that you're eating, then look at the sugar content. If you are suffering from hypertension and needs to watch out, you need to watch out for the amount of salt. You can look for the salt content, and it's a good way of choosing your food. There was a question there, Kendrick. I think I lost that one.
Yeah, we got Mr. Lulu asking another question. He's asking, our household's favorite spread is stork because of the taste. If we got 100% butter, is it good or fattening?
Stork. Actually, I'm not familiarized with.
Yeah, I think stork is like 100%. It's been a while. Mr. Drew.
Do you know what stork?
Yeah, I think it's one of those butters that they usually cook with. But I think the taste is beautiful. And I think the reason why he's going for that is because, as he said, is because of the taste. but because I don't think it's
Dog.
100%
Is
butter.
it a brand of butter?
Somebody's saying it is stock is mostly for baking. So I think it has got
Okay, it's
it has
mostly
got
for bake.
yeah. But I think the
Okay.
reason why they going for it. Thanks so much,
Okay.
Andrea, for mentioning that. The reason why it goes for that is because of the taste. So it's not 100% pure butter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So somebody is so he say actually if it's fattening. So actually stork or or butter, they're both sources of fat, you know. So a food being fattening or not, it really depends the amount of or what you're eating, the amount of food that you're eating.
Mhm.
And so in terms of calories, energy of the stork or the butter, they're very similar because it's actually stork is like a margarine, as I understand, spread used for
Mm.
baking. So in terms of being fattening or not, both of them will be fattening depending on the amount that you eat. So always watch out for the amount of eating. I would recommend, use stork or butter. It really depends if you are baking or not. Um, but don't be limited in terms of, oh, I'm going to eat stork because it's less fattening, because in terms of calories, energy will be the same. 1 teaspoon per portion is recommended for this group of fats.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in conclusion, we know that eating healthy is not that easy, but it became a priority nowadays. So we have more people thinking about eating healthier, especially uh, after Corona, or we're still in Corona times, and people became a bit more aware of what they're eating,
Mm.
more worried as well. So looking into the news and just making your mind up and changing your diet is not a good idea. Always consult a dietitian when you want to make changes, and don't aim for perfection. That progress, as we mentioned. Don't try to buy everything organic, all the fresh fruit and vegetables, all the fresh salmon, because it's going to be very difficult. You're not going to be able to sustain that for a long time. So make small changes because everything counts. What counts is really the changes that you make throughout the week. You might have a day that you're not eating so healthy for some reason.
Yeah.
Another day you're going to eat healthier. Just try to keep the balance overall. Try to have a healthier diet and stick to that. Create new habits. Look what you're eating at the moment. If you're not drinking enough water, how can you drink more water? If you're not eating enough fruit and vegetables, how can you eat more fruit and vegetables? Can you cook in a different way? Can you try different fruit and vegetables? Can you include a piece of fruit in the breakfast if you're not eating fruit at breakfast time? In that case, you're going to be increasing the amount of fruit and vegetables. So any change will be fantastic. You're going to feel the difference. You're going to start feeling better. There is a question here, Kendrick.
Yeah, it says there is there a correlation between age and weight gain? Say age 40 plus, a great change in weight gaining.
Yeah, actually, the majority of people that look for me are around between 30 and 50s or 40s as well. And they also worried because they already put on weight without noticing. We don't notice so much when we start putting on weight. Just after we put on weight like 10 or 20 kilos, we notice, it's when we start making changes. But if there is a correlation is really as we age, we spend less energy. If we don't do exercise, our muscle fat will increase and our muscle mass will decrease. This means that we will spend less energy. So imagine, Natasha, you are spending less energy but eating the same. So we will put on weight. So the correlation here is really related to the body changes that we suffer as we getting older. You can revert this situation by practicing activity, by increasing your muscle mass, by doing strength exercises. So you can do some weights, for example. So you are increasing your muscle mass, and actually watch out what you're eating. So eat perhaps smaller portion sizes now. So making changes in your diet and exercise levels, you can revert the situation. You actually can lose weight and prevent the weight gain. But this is a natural process. Everybody goes through that, as I mentioned. So it is related in some way because we spend less energy. Our body composition changes, but can be reverted with diet and exercise. Okay, so just my few points of just the conclusion, just to end. So aim for 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day. So the first one. Second, prefer whole grain and wholemeal bread, pasta, rice, and cereals. Choose low fat and low sugar dairy products or alternatives, and have 3 servings a day. Cut down on red meat, aiming for no more than 300 grams a week. Have fish twice a week and once olive fish, and include pulses, nuts, seeds, and eggs on your diet and other good sources of protein. Prefer unsaturated fats like olive oil or rapeseed oil, and avoid saturated fats in butter or ghee or coconut oil. Aim for at least 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, and avoid high sugar, high fat, and high salt products. Always choose wisely by reading the labels. So reading the labels, the traffic lights can help you. In the next session, I'll be talking about the importance of eating healthy in more detail. So now you learn how to do it, how to get the balance right. Next session, we'll be talking about the importance, why we should be doing this. And some of you might know a little bit how, but we'll get my view, from a dietitian's point of view, what's there, why we should be eating healthy in more details. If you have any more questions after this, you can send me a private message. I'm also very active on Instagram. I have a Facebook page, Your Diet Advice. I have my website. Thank you, Kendrick. So you can see there my Instagram. You can just send me a private message and visit my website. I have my email address there on the website. Yes, I'm free to help you. I hope you enjoyed this session. Kendrick, what did you think? Do you think you learned something?
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm telling you, this is just amazing. And sometimes when you think you know certain things, but the key is we know things out of balance, isn't it? And what you've done this evening, you brought everything into balance. And I like what you've mentioned. It's not so much even about being hard on yourself, trying to get it right all the time, but give yourself some room to make changes. And I think one of the things you just mentioned is make those changes little by little at a time. And I guess it's the same like when you go to the gym. When you go to the gym, you don't go there suddenly you go and start home picking up big weights. No, you pace yourself nicely, and because what we're trying to do is not like an overnight, just kind of like, all right, no, it's like making a lifestyle change, and not like getting into the diet, because diet's kind of like you do it for a certain period of time, and then suddenly when you get tired of keto, then you say, no man, I need to go back to my carbs. Where's my carbs? Somebody give me some bread.
Yes.
So yeah, no, that was just amazing, Joanna, and I'm sure that everybody that is on here right now, you will agree with me that she did an amazing job, and I can't even wait till next week to find out why do we want to do this, why is it important, because what are the benefits. And I think once we have a clear understanding what the benefits are that involves when it comes to healthy eating, we will even be more enthusiastic about making those changes. So ma'am, great job, thank you so much. This is just priceless. And yeah, Natasha is saying that this was awesome. You brought so many things in perspective, and that's exactly how I feel right now. And I think it is the little changes, like I've just mentioned, is the little changes we make every single day that will produce the results. So thank you so much.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Nastasia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrea.
And we also got Brian. Great show. I was not even keen to watch, but I really enjoyed. Thank you so much for jumping on,
Brian.
sir.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It was good to have you on, and thank you for your questions, because it is the questions that makes the this conversation really we can maximize every minute of it. So, ma'am, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kendrick, and thank you all of you for watching us. I know it was a little bit longer than I promised at the beginning, but with the questions, it makes a lot more interactive as well. And yes, with nutrition, there's a lot to talk about. So I tried to get a lot of information into you. I hope you really enjoyed, and it seems you did by your comments. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for this opportunity. And I hope to see you next week.
Absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining, and it was great to have you all on here. And if you are watching this program afterwards, thank you so much for jumping on and watching it. And ma'am, so I will see you next week. Everyone, bye-bye, and have an amazing week. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.